Good afternoon, YouTube. This is going to be a reading for a friend, and I'm also going to use this reading as a tutorial too, because my ultimate goal with tarot and my platform in general is to create a source of education and knowledge for everybody to be able to use, so other people who are hoping to learn are able to learn to read tarot as well, and hopefully they'll find the same benefit and use that I have. So this is a general reading, and I'm going to show you the format that I typically use to read the cards and provide a little bit of information on what each of the cards means and what each of the suits means too. So maybe you can draw a different conclusion from the cards, or find something that I may have missed. I'm not perfect at this, but I have a pretty good idea of what everything means and how almost everything works with tarot. We're using a standard Rider-Waite deck for this reading, and I may use some oracle cards as well to hopefully provide you with the insight that you are seeking. Okay. So here's what I do here. I cut the deck 3 times, and I draw a card and place it here. I draw a card from the far end and place it here. And I draw a card and place it in the middle to cross. And then I put some cards here. And I put a card right here. And I think that there's other ways that you can do this too. Like sometimes if I don't have the clarification that I need, I'll add more than one card to each of these stacks. This is pretty typical. This is a 5-card reading. And I'll show you even adding a few extra cards too if we need to for additional clarification here. When I learned this spread, it was a long time ago, but I learned this is a love spread, but I use this spread for just about everything now. So this card represents the position that you're in. This card represents the people in your life or things that are important in your life. And this card is what ties you to the people or the things that are important in your life. And then these are projected outcomes. So I used to, and when I say projected, I don't mean that it's certain that it's going to happen. I mean that these are potential outcomes that could happen. Not necessarily that they will for sure, but like humans have the free will to change the things in their life that are necessary to. So if these are negative or adverse outcomes, we're able to make the changes necessary to avoid these things from happening. And this is why tarot is useful. This is a tool of self-reflection to me, not necessarily a tool of divination. Although it can be used as divination too, and I realize that there's lots of ways to approach tarot. So we're flipping over the card on the left-hand side that I showed you, and this is your card. And for you, I drew the Knight of Swords reversed, and I'll explain to you what this means. So the Knight of Swords is a card. Okay, so swords represents logic and intellect and thought. Like the sword suit would be like education or having a new idea or learning about something or some kind of revelation. People also see swords as stress or conflict, especially when they're in the reverse position. You don't necessarily need to read cards reverse, but I like to because I think that it adds a little bit more depth to the meaning, and the reverse version of the card is like an amplified or slightly more twisted means of what it would normally mean. In this case, this is the Knight of Swords reversed. So the Knight is a card of action, whereas the Queen would be the card of nurture, and the King would be the card of mastery, and the Page would be the messenger. The Knight is action. So I see you being in a place right now of like intensive thought and there's something intense going on that you've discovered or you've learned about, and you're about to take action on it, or you already are taking action. You've made a decision to move forward with whatever it is that you're doing. And I see this as like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, this card is in the reverse position, so I would caution you to move forward, like proceed with caution. You don't want to go into things recklessly without thinking it through. The Knight of Swords is a card where like we're taking action on something that we think that we know, but we haven't thought it through as well as we should have. And there could be something adverse that happens as a result of that. So anyhow, the people and things in your life is King of Pentacles reversed. So Pentacles represents the material world, or things that we can touch with our hands, things that we can build. It's a craft, it's a hobby, it's money. So the King would represent the mastery of materiality. And as it's in the reverse position, I see this as being a card of greed. Like, I think that there's somebody in your life or something in your life that has material, it's a material aspect of your life that has too much value placed upon it. It's like if this is a person in your life that we're referring to, and I don't know much about your situation, this would be like a leader that is motivated by money and inspires you by money, but also manipulates you by money as well. So this would be like the sole provider in this would be the provider in a situation. Like if I was to put this in relationship context, this would be like a husband who's the breadwinner in the family that, you know, holds the fact that he controls the finances over the head of the rest of the family. Okay, so what ties you to the people in your life or the things in your life is the Six of Pentacles. And again, this represents materiality. And I see this as being a card of like, it's the handout card. It's something that we like, and this is what ties you. So you've made a revelation regarding somebody that is like, or something that is too far on the spectrum of materiality, and you've somehow became dependent on this situation or this person, and you've been put in a position where you've been made to feel like almost feel guilty about it. I don't see this as you being like, I think that you are a generous person. This is another way to interpret it, but granted that we've got the King of Pentacles reversed here, I see you as being the one that is collecting whatever it is that you're collecting. And this could be like doesn't necessarily have to be just money. Could be like we're hoping for a new position at work, and we've been put in a compromising position in order to attain that. Like we feel like we've got to beg for our job, or we feel like we have to prove ourselves in the workplace. That would be what that card would represent to me as well. So we're moving forward in a thought process with some sense of reckless abandonment based on a revelation that we've had regarding materiality and greed. And we're in a position where we have to make compromises or compromise part of our value system in order to accommodate this particular situation. So just for the sake of showing you, right now I am laying down another card on the right hand side to get a little bit more clarification on who this person is or what this thing is that we're acting too quickly on. And the card that I've drawn is the Queen of Cups. Now, cups represents emotion. A lot of people read cups solely as like the suit of love, but it's emotion in general. And I see the Queen of Cups as somebody that it doesn't necessarily have to be a female figure either. These cards don't have genders. I think a male figure can play the queen role, and a female figure can also play the king role. And I see the Queen of Cups as being someone that is nurturing and knows how to appeal to our emotions in a way that brings us happiness. So I think that who or whatever it is that is in this position of power with the finances is also in a position of power and nurture regarding our emotions as well. Some projected outcomes here. I'm drawing from the top first. This is the Four of Wands, and I drew this in the reverse position. Now, if you look there's a couple celebrating a marriage. So what I see here is this is in the reversed position, is this could be a card of divorce or this could be a card of disharmony in a relationship. This could be a card of like so what wands represents is faith, hope, things that we can't touch with our hands, spirituality, ideals, values. So I see this card as normally being like the card of harmony in a relationship. Like harmony would be the word that I would assign to this card. So as it's in the reverse position, I would say disharmony. So again, I would caution you not to rush into anything at the time, be whatever it is that it may be. And this doesn't necessarily have to. This doesn't have to relate to a relationship. This could relate to anything in your life. But this is a disharmony in something that brings us value, or something that we hold, like something that's part of our value system, something that we put up on a pedestal and idealized, and we're finding out that it might not be quite as great as what we anticipated. So the final card that I drew here is in the bottom position, and I drew the Four of Pentacles. Lots of pentacles in this reading. This reading could be applied to the workplace or something to do with your finances or a hobby that you're working on. But I see this as a card of like holding on too tightly to our material belongings or a material attachment. Or even this could also be a card of greed or scarcity. And I think that I don't know how I'd apply this necessarily to you, but I would advise you to be mindful that there's a lot of pentacles in this. So I see materiality as being a powerful aspect of your life right now, and something that you should definitely be mindful of. And I think that monitoring the material aspects of your life will bring you happiness and harmony as well, and keeping those balanced, because there's other aspects to a healthy human psyche other than materiality, such as the other three suits of tarot, which is values, suit of wands, emotions, suit of cups, and swords, the suit of intellect. So we want to have a healthy balance between our materiality, the things that we're working on, our finances, and also the other aspects of your life as well, and make sure that the people in your life are keeping those things in check. So I do have to get back to work pretty quick here, but I will give you an oracle card too. I'm using the Season of the Witch Samhain Oracle for Halloween. It's a pretty fun one. So each of these has has an kind of a folly topic, and it has like a little paragraph or a sentence. It's kind of poetic. We'll draw two of them. Okay, so the first card that I drew was Rooted. Oh, let me see if I can get that. And what this card says is, may you never tear the living rituals that is magic merged within the roots of your being and the soul of your soil. So how I would interpret this is, you need to stay rooted and stay true to your value system. You don't want to compromise your values for anything in your life. Your values should come first, and what's important to you and what's important to making you the best possible version of yourself. The next card that I drew is the Owl. Behold sight, O ancient ones, for there is magic in the darkest places if one dares to open their eyes. This card's telling you to think outside the box and be creative. I really hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and hit me up for a reading. You have a happy Halloween.